Hi, I'm Saket Bansal, and in this video, I'm exploring agile values and principles with you. This video is especially important for project managers who are doing PMI-ACP exam preparation. Because in PMI-ACP, you have two topics, agile mindset and leadership, which are very much founded on agile values and principles. If you as a test taker can interpret various options and understand which option is more aligned to agile values and principle or one of the principle, you will find these two domains easy and your certification gets far easier. So let's explore these values and principles in detail. So what I did, I prepared an ebook for you, and this particular ebook is something which you can download for free. You just can visit our website iZenBridge.com, and there you can navigate to a section called downloads. And in download, the first link as of now is the agile values and principles. You can scroll down and you can find out a place to download this digital PDF ebook for agile values and principle. As of now, I'm using the same to talk about so that we can make some use of this booklet and also understand agile values and principles. So here I start talking about what is agile, what is story about agile. Now, many times that becomes literally important when we discuss the PMP exam related mindset. Many individuals who comes from project management background may find it difficult to appreciate why are we following agile, why PMI is promoting agile to us. So we understand the work is becoming more and more knowledge oriented. We are living in a dynamic, volatile world. Things are unstable now, and more ability to change our direction is needed when we are working as a project manager. Though the Agile Manifesto, Agile values and principles are rooted into software development, that's the fact. But at the same time, the agility is something which is needed in all the industries. And we see the agility is adapted in all aspects of our life in a day-to-day living as well. So I have shared some of the example in this particular digital workbook, which you may want to look into so that you understand why we need to follow Agile. Then we have an exploration and content talking about agile values. So you may know that Agile Manifesto has its history. There are some individuals who came together and they wrote 4 values and 12 principles. But my objective is not to get into theoretical jargons of those words, rather focus on how as a project manager I should see it. So the first value statement which you hear about agile is individual and interaction over process and tool. So the whole idea when we look at this is that we definitely need processes and tools, and the amount of processes and tools needed varies depending upon complexity, distribution, and the size of the project. But at the same time, I believe the interaction, the engagement, the collaboration which I make with individuals will help me in generating project success. I can keep in mind great tool with poor team and poor stakeholder engagement will result into failure. But when I have a good stakeholder engagement, even if there is a lack in a process, even if there is a lack in documentation, if the stakeholders trust me, support me, I will get things done. If the team is collaborating with each other, sharing information with each other, they are really working well with each other, we will get things done. So yes, we may need some amount of processes, but we need to stress on the people part of our work. As we understand, even in the PNP exam nowadays, you have a 42% focus on people domain because over a period of time, we have realized the interaction, the human connect between team members as well as with stakeholders is something which get things done. So as a project manager, as a project leader, I always promote real-time conversation. I always promote interaction. And you can find some of the examples in this booklet, which talks about in a various situations, requirement, questions, conflicts, and all, how do you promote individual and interaction? So overall, always focus on collaboration, always focus on talking to each other, always focus on facilitating conversation, empathizing with the people, stakeholder, and the team leads me to create highly engaged teams and engaged stakeholder, which leads me to develop product and solution. The second value, this one is more software oriented, which focuses on working software over comprehensive documentation. But the whole idea is sometimes it is also get misunderstood that we don't need documentation. The idea is A over B. So you believe in having more working software rather than showing the documents of completed work. We don't have to make a status report in the Excel sheet and say the work is doing good. We need to better show the working, demonstrable, usable product so that we can get the real feedback. The whole idea of agile ways of working is fast feedback. And when we complete the whole cycle, like there is a small requirement, we design it, develop it, test it, and demonstrate it and take a feedback about it, we really learn. Yeah, if I just keep writing about it, I am just doing the first step. The whole cycle of learning is not getting completed. So if we deal with the PMP or PMI-ACP exam questions, so focus on working software or comprehensive documentation is early feedback, collecting the idea from an end-to-end perspective. Even if a non-IT environment, you can say, oh, how do I interpret it? How can I take an end-to-end feedback? That is something is a working software equivalent. So as a project manager, I always look for early validation. I look for a validation which are more fact-oriented, which can be demonstrated without ambiguity. And that's the idea we need to promote as a working software over comprehensive documentation. So in this booklet, you can find more ideas and they can help you in developing the right understanding for this particular content further. Then we focus on collaboration over contract negotiation. So it's connected with individual interaction. All principles and values are pretty much interconnected. But here the focus is more on many a time when you work as a project manager and you believe, oh, what if we keep changing? What about the change request? What about who will pay for the change? Yes, there has to be someone who will pay for the change. The money will be consumed if we are changing. The whole idea is we are changing because the benefits are more. And at the same time, the people who are investing more effort in changing it, they should also get rewarded. Nothing comes without a cost. So we need to make sure if we are working in the contracted environment, working with the vendors, working with, or we are the vendor, we need to make sure the contracts are flexible. They provide easy mechanism of adapting for the change. So it's all about having open conversation. It's all about looking for what value we can add rather than making an assumption in the beginning of the project, documenting in the contract, and then following the contract throughout the project duration. Then we are still rooted on something which is old. We are not learning all based on our recent experience in the project. So we should have a collaborative approach, negotiated approach, rather than keep blaming each other and try to find out this is included in the contract and this is not included in the contract. So there are some examples which you can look into, but that's the mindset as a project manager I have to develop. Now, responding to change over following a plan. So say any project management approach you take, be it a predictive life cycle, change can always happen. I, as a project manager, can't say that if I made the plan, I will just follow the plan. I don't care what is happening in the world. That will be a stupidity. None of the project management, none of the process will talk about doing that. At the same time, here focus is that yes, anyway, you keep changing when someone asks you to change, but what about look for change? What about having frequent stop points where we welcome change? What about going with the assumption that we have to change? What about going with the assumption that we don't know many things about our product? That's the idea of responding to change. So we can have a plan, but the plan is expected to be progressively elaborated. The plans are expected to be evolved. You estimated something before, now estimation is changing. You should not worry about it. You should face it. Yeah. You should face it and find out what should we do in this particular situation because now we know more. Rather than keep saying it's a variance. Yes, it's a variance. What do we do about it is more important. So agile ways of working, the assumption is that you are making plan with high variability. The things will evolve over a period of time. If something is changing, what needed is we figure it out if this change is really beneficiary for our project and stakeholder. If it is, we go ahead with that. Yeah, and definitely someone has to pay for it, but that money is less than the benefit which we are getting out of that particular change. That's the responding to change over following a plan. So I recommend try out this booklet. It will give you some more examples and details related to these 4 values. And once these 4 values are done, then you can also explore detailed principles. Yes, principles are 12. They are many. They are connected to the values. Again, they are just further elaborating the idea. But for the exam perspective, better you look into more details. So the principle one talks about that we want to deliver software early and often. So it focuses on a rhythm. Yeah. So our highest priority to satisfy the customer through early and continuous delivery of valuable software. So me as a leader, project manager, should be focusing on how can I deliver things small, incremental, and rhythmic manner continuously, rather than I focus on big bang deliveries. And also delivering at the end of the project is anyway bad idea, at least for PMI-ACP exam and all you are talking about. Why? Because we want to do a validation. Same thing, plan, do, check, act. We want to make sure that we are really getting things end to end. So I need to make a delivery, and only when the customer start playing with it, the real validation can happen. So that's the idea of principle one. You can find out some more real world examples here. All principles follow the same style, and that can help you in developing that mindset further. Now, welcoming changing requirement, we spoke about change. The whole idea is whenever change is coming, I keep explaining my PMP classes and all, we need to see what is the cost of change and what is the cost of not changing. Many of us as a project delivery people, we are always worried about cost of change alone. We don't think of, or many a time appreciate what are the benefits come out of the change and what will be the consequences, negative consequences will happen if you don't change. When the cost of not changing is high, better to change it. Yeah. And when the cost of not changing is not high, maybe you don't change it. Yeah, that's a perfectly okay. So we are changing for customer competitive advantage. So it is not about that we are doing mindlessly. It is more about it is difficult to predict everything in advance. So why don't we keep our options open? Yeah, so that's the same idea which you keep hearing in the Agile. I would say if you are new to Agile, this is the core concept which we need to keep in mind, that here we are looking for adapting to the new learning, adapting to the changing market situations, making sure that we are taking feedback, and it can only happen when you do incremental delivery. Yeah. Don't think of that I have a requirement and I am developing, and someone is saying change, and then I have to change. That's because we are Agile. That is not actually the whole mindset of Agile, because you are not validating. If you are not giving the workable, playable product in the hand of the customer, and still on the assumption you are changing, then you are still not completing the whole feedback loop. So we want to change. Unlike predictive life cycle where we change without taking the whole feedback loop, in the adaptive way of working, we are changing because we are continuously delivering. We are incrementally validating. So we need to see all these things connected, else you will start understanding Agile also in a waterfallish manner. Yeah, in Agile, we can have multiple change requests. That's not the idea. In the Agile, after the delivery, we learn about the change. Yeah, so that's the important distinction we should make when we are dealing with Agile related topics as a mindset. So you can definitely explore more. And I'm going to the principle 3, delivering working software frequently, couple of weeks to couple of months, and preference to shorter time scale. Pretty much connected to the point 1, but it is again reminding that we need to do as early validation as possible, as early value delivery as possible. Now, some of us may believe, why to deliver? It may bring an overhead of customer feedbacks. It may bring unnecessary change. Why can't I just follow and fix my whole release in a one go? There is a overhead of releasing as well and giving it to the customers early. So yes, there is overhead. You need to think about rationally. But what about the benefits? I know all of us can think about those overheads very easily because we are delivery people. What about the benefits? The benefits, maybe some portion of it, customer can consume it. They may make their life easier before the whole project get delivered. Maybe we also learn the mistakes we are doing, our wrong assumption. If we don't learn about it, we may keep building on those assumptions and we may end up having a lot of rework later. What if we realize that the type of customer segment we are focusing is not the right one? We need to go somewhere else. What if we realize we are doing wrong thing? If this thing will not make sense, why not we stop now? All these things can only happen when we really objectively evaluate the thing. And in order to make that happen, we need to complete the whole learning cycle. So the whole essence is learning cycle, validation, change, interconnected. Yeah? So yes, we need to focus. And the shorter the cycle, the faster we learn, the faster we change our direction. So that's the idea number 3 principle, which is reminding the shorter the time scale is, the better thing for us. Now, going forward, the principle 4. Now, this one is focusing on business people and developer must work together daily throughout the project. Now, sometimes this may get misinterpreted as well. The whole essence is not to create walls, silos, bridges, something like mechanism between the developer and business people to interact. Create more open, frequent, collaborative conversation where the users, the people who are going into the market, the stakeholders, and the people who are building the product can frequently, without any barriers, can speak with each other and interact with each other. Because if they don't do it, we may not end up solving the right problem. We will be just making wrong assumption. Now, this thing will get fixed if you are delivering frequently. And if you are delivering to the business people frequently, that is anyway is a great idea. And in the overall mechanism, you should have a continuous integration of business people and the development team. Now, sometime in a Scrum world, you have a product owner who may represent the business to the Agile team. Sometime in extreme programming, you have an on-site customer. But we need to go to essence. We just don't have to worry about the words, especially for PMI-ACP. Then I need to make collaboration. I need to make connect. I, as a project manager, don't want to be a middleman. Oh, business will give a requirement to me and I will tell to the developers or engineers. No. If there is any confusion coming in, I should be always promoting how can I facilitate the conversation where people can directly talk to each other. Yeah. So don't try to be a middleman. That's the important thing you need to keep in mind for the exam perspective. And here you will put the right context. Then principle number 5. Here we focus on now build project around motivated individuals, give them environment and support they need and trust them to get the job done. So the whole idea is you as a leader is focusing on creating right environment, creating right support. Environment means where people trust each other, where there is a complete transparency, where there is a appropriate amount of resources available. The tools which are needed in order to get the deliveries are available. The dependencies related issues get resolved. That's the right environment. And when you create that right environment, the team will get the things done. Now, you don't have to worry about, have you finished that work which I gave to you yesterday? You must finish it by today. That is not the expectation from the leader in the Agile world. Better, you are making sure whatever is needed to finish that work is available to the team. Now, once that is available, let the team self-organize. Let them figure it out how they want to work. If they want to do something in a different sequence, trust them, they will get it done. So you want to make sure you have people who are engaged, you create engaged team, and you give them the right environmental space. That is your responsibility, and people will get the things done. You need to trust them. In a project management mindset, you may have studied the theory X and theory Y manager. So this thing is basically focusing on theory Y type of management style, where I believe people want to work, they want to have a job satisfaction, they want to contribute, provided I create the right environment for them, I provide appropriate support to them. So how do you support delivery? By providing the environment, by controlling the environment, by creating the positive environment, not by doing micromanagement. If you just keep this thing in mind, many questions of your PMI-ACP will get right. Yeah? So that's the mindset and leadership. Both way it will come. Now, moving forward, now some of you may be remembering, I always remember the word facilitate and I will always use facilitate. The new exam may gradually start tricking you, especially PMI-ACP 1, where you will see a facilitate word, but that's the wrong option. Yeah? So you need to go little detail rather than just going your PMP tricks, where usually those tricks works. Yeah, you just pick up some keywords and you start marking the right questions. But what we are observing, especially for those individuals who did recent PMP and they end up failing in PMI-ACP, maybe just because of those keyword-based answers. Now, principle 6, which focuses on effective communication. Most effective communication can happen when people have a face-to-face conversation. Now, this one also should not be interpreted that as a project manager, I need to make sure everyone is co-located. Everyone is physically co-located. So we know the world has changed since this Agile Manifesto came also. But we need to focus on in our PMP or PMI-ACP exam mindset that we need to provide rich communication channel, as much as possible. So where people are synchronous. So if you have alternative, sending an email over making a call. So I will definitely make a call. Because I know by talking to each other, I have a synchronous communication. So I want to have a real-time synchronous communication as much as possible because I know things will get done. And I understand out of it, if I have people available face-to-face, why not to do that? If I have someone whom I can go and talk, why should I write an email to that person? That's something I need to keep in mind, which is good for any type of method or a project delivery. But this is something more promoted in the agile phase of working. So focus on real time. If you're talking over the video, focus on getting as much as visual feedback. Ask for have a working agreement where you and the person keeps the camera on. So those kind of stuff helps you in getting things moving. So that's the principle 6. Then we move to principle 7, which focuses on working software as a primary measurement of progress. This is something pretty much we discussed in the value statement as well. Working software over comprehensive documentation. That's the idea. So whenever I want to see where we are, I want to have a fact in hand rather than Excel report in hand. So fact in hand means I have a demo which shows that this much work has been done and it is completed in the end-to-end level, which means the complete validation cycle has been passed through. So you have done development, design, test, whatever is needed as per your definition of done, rather than just having a one step and then I have a status report which tells this has been completed. So move away from status reports and move towards the actionable, evaluatable, like touchable products. That's the whole idea. Yes, there could be some situation for a while you need to rely on status report, or you may have a backup reporting which might happening as a status report. But whenever I'm dealing with the exam, I look for the fact which comes from working software more often. Now, principle 8, Agile promotes sustainable development where sponsor developers should be able to maintain constant pace indefinitely. So the whole idea is, as we learn in our project management, resource leveling and resource smoothing, more or less same. So whenever you are working, you need to make sure that people are not they are not stressed, they are not overworking. And we may also need to ensure that they have a constant pace, something which is rhythmic, where they can remain in a flow. Why? Because things becomes predictable. If people are working in a high energy time and low energy time sometime later, it becomes very unpredictable rhythm. There will be a poor quality product and codes. So in order to have a sustainable, predictable work, I want to follow this particular idea. So that's how you see it. If you see in the question in your PMI-ACP exam where there is an option of doing overtime, if there's an option of taking a little extra, so you should become a little conscious about it. Yes, there could be some exception where you do these things, but in general, I want to have a sustainable pace. In a long term, I want to have a sustainable pace. That's the idea, but there could be few exceptions in a real world. But for exam, I think you stick to the ideal world maybe. Now, principle 9 reminds continuous attention to technical excellence, good design, enhance agility. So for a PMP, PMI-ACP exam, you understand the essence of good design and good development will be rooted into definition of done. You need to make sure that you never promote taking shortcuts. You bring the good design, good testing early in the development stage. You want to make these things as a regular also. It is not like we have designed something in the beginning and now we will just keep developing it, because requirements are dynamic. So your design has to evolve. So that mindset should be very, very clear for our PMP, PMI-ACP exam, that design is not a phase here. It's not as something that at the end of the phase, we will have a design and then we will just keep developing it. That is not there because things are changing. That can happen in a waterfallish approach, but not here. And if we don't give an attention to it, if the question indicates, let's keep taking shortcuts and finish something, then you know that our future agility will be in danger. So if I keep putting new and new features without refactoring or reorganizing the design, let's use the simple word, then at some point in time, I will reach to a stage where I can't add something on top of my product. So that's the mindset we should be keeping in mind. So I continuously improve my code quality. We continuously invest. We take care of continuous reorganizing our content. That's something we follow. Now, principle 10 sometimes looks very confusing. Simplicity, the art of maximizing the amount of work not done, is essential. What I feel is maybe the writer wanted to communicate the simple is not so simple. People make things complicated. That's why this statement looks complicated. So the whole idea is do less, get more. That's the simplicity. So means maximize the amount of work not done, which means do less and keep avoiding things which you can leave without doing it. So the whole idea is someone to propose a 10 feature, find out which are the 2 features which will give you the maximum benefits and how possibly you can avoid doing the remaining 8 features. Yeah. So when you are making some documentation, find out what is the minimum documentation which is really useful, needed for the organization, and how to avoid the remaining, which is not that much useful, which is wasteful. So always look for continuously refining our processes, continuously simplifying our things. Now, in reality, things are not simple till the time we look at them again. Yeah, sometime I need all the 10 features and later on I will realize, oh, nothing was needed. So it's a continuous process. It is not one time. I may not have a predictability about what is really needed, but I need to keep focusing on simplifying things all the time. Yeah. So backlog refinement, continuous activity. Prioritization, continuous activity. Sometime I might have done some mistakes in the past. Cleaning up that mistake is also a continuous activity. Say the question indicates you have made 10 features and you realize 2 features are only needed, remaining 8 are not needed. Maybe you just get rid of them. Now somebody will say, why to get rid of them? Anyway, in the future builds also, you need to do regression. You need to make sure that nothing is breaking. So if they are there, they will keep troubling you. So it's good if they are not useful, you just keep them aside. If someone asks about them again, then you will add it. But why to have something which is not making value? So that's the kind of question you can be aware of. So you see lots of example here. Make a good use of this file. And then principle 11, best architecture requirement design emerges from self-organizing team. The essence here is, don't think of someone can dictate the design and architecture and team can just implement it. When team cares about the work, when they are engaged, when you are taking short feedback cycles, when you are collaborative, when you believe in motivated individuals and get the things done, you should also trust the team to make sure that they will bring best architecture requirements. Yeah. So create a self-organizing team, engage with them, they will get the things done. That's the whole idea. They will also get the architectural requirements and design gets done for you. So that's the reminder here. Pretty much interconnected to the previous idea. So all these principles are interconnected. It's not like we just implement one and forget about others. And principle 12, reminding it that we need to reflect regularly so that we become more effective. So the whole idea is agility is finding out our agility. We are always doing something wrong. So now sometimes people ask me, oh, you have been doing retrospective and learning for a while, and at some point in time you have learned enough. Now you want to stop it. So at least for PMI-ACP, PMP exam, don't think like that. Why? Because there is no end to learning. I might have done my best till yesterday, but today I learned something new. Today the technology is new. Today the environment is new. So looking at today's environment, what should I do that I can do only today? Yesterday was my yesterday's information. So I need to regularly, at a rhythmic manner, it should be a rhythm. It should not be like whenever you have a problem, you can do a retrospective. We used to do that as a lesson learned meeting, as a milestone reviews. But here you need to have more rhythmic, more periodic. You can use the word cadence if you want to, and make sure that by doing that, we are finding out how to make things better, how to have more fun at work, and how to deliver better value. So make good use of this ebook. There are details about these 12 principles, and even whatever I explained can also probably augment to your learning. And if you do that well, get a good foundation for your PMI-ACP exam, especially for mindset and leadership topic. Now, if you need more assistance for your PMI-ACP exam, you can connect with us. We do have a program which assists you in getting PMI-ACP done. We do have a self-paced version as well, where you can watch collection of videos, and then there are lots of mock tests. There are 5 full-length mock tests, and there are many short tests, which makes you ready for your PMI-ACP exam. So check out our program page to find suitable program for you.